we can add a number of courses, but they all have the same name, right? The same title, right? So let's add an input field where we can handle the state of that input field, right? So what we're going to do here is let's add right next to that button. Here's a button for adding the course. All right, so let's add an input field, and so that's how it renders. There's our input field, and we're going to type the title of the course that we want to add, right? So input fields are a funny thing in React. A little bit unintuitive how we manage the input field. Yeah, so we need to keep track of whatever you're typing. As you type, we need to maintain the state of the input field. There's no type whatever it is, and then when you click on the button, let me go fetch what the value is of the input field. We have to instead keep track of the state of the input field separately in our own state variable. Okay, so here we're going to keep track of that title. So we can say new course title. And we're going to initialize as an empty field, empty string. Well, actually, we can type whatever, whatever, right? And then we can tell the input field that the value, the initial value, is going to be this dot state dot new course title, right? So it grabs it. So that value is now tied to the state, right? If I type, it's not changing, right? Because the state is not changing. Unless I change the state, this input field will not change, right? That's what's a little bit unintuitive, right? I need to force the state to change, and then I will get the changes here. So to do that, I need to notify somebody that the state is changing, right? So to do that, we can say on change. Just like this on click, there's an on change. So as I type, it is changing, but it's being forced to stay at the value of the state. Right? So it says, oh, I want to change, but the state is not letting me, right? So it's generating the event that it is changing, but it's being overwritten by the state of React state. Okay, so we need to change that state. So on change, what we're going to do is that we can take a look at the raw event. We can take a look at the raw event, and we can console log the event dot. We can get the current object who's generating this event, which is the input field. We can, by using the target on the raw event. This is a raw event that is being passed to us by the browser. The browser is saying this thing just changed, right? And this is the raw event. That raw event includes my mouse location. If I have a control keystroke, any modifiers, the keystroke, anything, the time this was the event was generated, all sorts of things are listed there. We only want the target, meaning who generated this event. That target has a reference to it, to the input field. And then we can say value. Value is the value of that input field, or if it's a drop down or checkbox or whatever. If it's a form, it will have a value, right? So let's do that. Yes. Yes, because the target is a reference to the original DOM element that generated the event, right, which is the input field, right? So the dot value only works on input fields or drop downs, checkboxes, anything with input or select or text area will have dot value. Right? So as I type, notice that it wants to change. It tells me, yeah, I see you're typing F, 7 times, right? But I'm not changing because I'm tied to the state of React, right? So we need to force the change there. We need to force this. We can say this dot set state, right? The new the new course title. I want to change it to be e dot target dot value. I want to change it right here. Okay, so now I can type it, right? Notice that I did everything right here in the on change. Maybe that's a little bit hard to read, so you might want to put it in a separate function, and you might call it, I don't know, something like update form, right? Which takes as argument the E, right? And you can do the same logic that we had here, right? Or is it right here, right? This logic right here. Put it here. You know, make it an actual function, and then call that function from the onChange. This dot update form. Notice that I don't need to put it in a closure, right? Because it will call it, and it will pass by default. It will pass the event, which is what's receiving. If I need to pass something else other than the event, then I would need to put it in a closure. Right? This automatically calls whatever function you give it. It will call it with the raw event. So I don't need to put it in a closure. Right? If I need to pass anything else other than just the event, then if it's my own thing, then yes, I would need to put it in a closure. So this is working. Yes. Now, when I add the course, instead of just saying new course and being hard coded to new course, I can say previous state dot new course title, right, from the state, so that if I click on it's whatever 123 or cs5610, so now the title makes sense. Yes. Now in the assignment, I'm suggesting that the add course button and the input field should live in the heading, not as part of the course manager. So you'll have to do your own drilling the properties down and the events going up, right, to change the state. But I'll leave that to you, right? They should not be part of this top level manager. They should live under the course manager heading. Yes, and we already saw examples of drilling down functions, right, and drilling up and calling events. So you should know how to move that into the heading, right? All right. So now that we have this, we can now take a look at perhaps posting this to a server instead. All right, so let's do that next.